Captain Hyeon Woo Kim stood upon the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the colossal crystal formations of the Nigma homeworld swell across the view screen. The planet resembled a scatter of countless diamonds released into the void, left to bloom untamed. Vast crystalline spires rose skyward from the surface, each resonating with a distinct note that somehow traveled through the emptiness of space. The entire world vibrated with harmonies sharp enough to set his teeth on edge. "Sir, they're reacting to our arrival," reported Communications Officer Dao Su Park, pressing his headset tighter to his ears. "The resonance is intensifying." Hyeon Woo gave a firm nod and adjusted the folds of his blue diplomatic attire. His voyage had lasted 3 months across deep space, all for the sake of delivering one message, one that could avert catastrophe. The words were plain, yet the weight behind them was immense. Heed Earth's warning, or countless lives would be lost. Behind him, Dr. Yoonji Park double-checked her tablets once more. She was humanity's foremost authority on alien life, years of distant study of the Nigma etched into her experience. Her black hair was pinned neatly into a bun, though her lab coat bore the evidence of sleepless travel, rings of coffee stains marking every long shift. Fatigue lingered in her eyes, but so did determination. "Remember, their communication is frequency-based," she reminded Hyeon Woo. "Every sound carries meaning layered beyond literal speech. To them, our words might seem crude, unfinished." Commander Young Lee stood guard by the weapons console, though every system aboard the Soul's Pride remained powered down as an open gesture of peace. His uniform was immaculate, posture rigid, yet Hyeon Woo recognized the tension wound tight in his frame. Lee had studied every intelligence file on Nigma military strength. Their dominion ruled over 200 star systems, their crystalline vessels able to transform shape mid-battle. "Captain, we're receiving docking vectors," Navigation Officer So Young Kim announced. "They're directing us toward the primary diplomatic spire." Hyeon Woo's gaze followed the screen to the spire in question, an immense crystalline tower that stretched upward like a needle of pure luminescence. At its base, vessels of dozens of alien species clustered together, hulls reflecting the radiant glow of the formations. "Bring us in slowly," Hyeon Woo ordered. "Nothing abrupt." As the Soul's Pride drew closer, the gravity of his assignment pressed down upon him. Barely 3 weeks earlier, Nigma reconnaissance craft had been sighted along the Kepler line, the invisible frontier demarcating human-controlled space. Earth's government had transmitted firm warnings to keep their distance, yet the scouts crept ever nearer. Then came the reports that stirred widespread alarm. Nigma fleets amassing beyond sensor limits, poised for incursion. Intelligence suggested a push across the Kepler line, the first step in claiming human territory. Earth's leaders resolved to send one last unmistakable warning, face to face, impossible to dismiss. The docking sequence itself dragged for nearly an hour for the Nigma station. Instead of mechanical clamps, the station used magnetic fields to secure their ship. Hyeon Woo watched through the view screen as alien technicians worked along the hull. They resembled living crystals, bodies translucent and glowing with inner radiance. Each motion they made produced notes that harmonized with one another. "Docking. Complete, Captain," Engineer Taman Choi reported. "Atmospheric scans indicate their air is breathable for us, but Dr. Park advises we keep breathing masks close, just in case." Hyun Woo gathered his delegation in the shuttle bay. Along with Dr. Park and Commander Lee, he had chosen to bring diplomatic aide Myung Choi, a young woman fluent in 17 languages with an intuitive grasp of foreign customs. Her role was to prevent any cultural missteps that could doom their mission. "Remember," Hyeon Woo reminded them, "we're here to deliver a warning, not a threat. Earth desires peace, but we must make clear we will defend ourselves if forced." The airlock hissed open, and they stepped into a corridor composed entirely of crystal. Floor, ceiling, and walls were transparent, offering a breathtaking view of the sprawling city below. Nigma citizens moved along crystalline conduits and platforms, their very presence generating a constant chorus of sound. Their guide introduced himself as Resonance Keeper Thelkar. Towering over the humans, his crystal body shifted in hues of blue and green as he spoke. His voice was a melody of wind chimes, laced with a resonant bass that rippled through the walls. "Welcome, carbon-based visitors," Thelkar intoned. "The High Resonance Council will hear your words, though they question why a species of a single system believes it has anything worth saying." Dr. Park stepped forward, activating her translation device. "We are grateful for the Council's time," she said carefully. "Our message represents the united decision of Earth's governments." Thelkar's crystalline form flickered in what might have been amusement. "All your governments? How many could one world possibly need?" The question revealed the Dominion's limited understanding. To them, Earth was one planet, one people, not a species that had endured centuries of conflict to finally learn cooperation. The council chamber itself was a colossal crystalline dome where sound waves took visible form, rippling as colored patterns across the air. 12 Nigma officials sat encircling the chamber, each body resonating in a distinct tonal frequency. At the center waited the prime harmonizer, Velak, an elder so refined his crystal body was nearly transparent. "Speak, little beings," Velak commanded, his voice so deep the floor shivered. "The Dominion has little patience for primitive concerns." Haiyan Wu stepped forward, activating his recorder. A hologram flickered to life, displaying star charts and strategic data prepared by Earth's finest minds. "The Kepler line marks the border of human space," he stated firmly. "Any Nigma force crossing it will be treated as an act of war." The chamber erupted in a cacophony. Shards of sound like breaking glass mingled with mocking laughter. War singer Krathol, his form a blood-red crystal, rose with scorn. "You dare threaten us? You possess but one system, while we command 200 worlds. Our crystal dreadnoughts split planets. Our fleets number in the thousands. What hope could fragile carbon beings muster against the Dominion?" Dr. Park activated a second set of tablets, projecting a vast array of human military data. Ship schematics, defense strategies, and tactical doctrines unfolded in precise detail, offered for the Nigma to evaluate. "These records show our defensive capacity," she explained. "Earth believes sharing this knowledge may help the Dominion choose wisely, an informed decision on whether to test humanity's resolve." Prime Harmonizer Velak hardly spared the display a glance before dismissing it with a casual wave of his crystalline hand. "Primitive armaments, crude doctrines," he declared. "The Dominion has defeated civilizations far beyond your level." Commander Lee shifted tactics. "Perhaps we could consider military exchanges or joint training," he suggested. "Such cooperation would help both sides understand each other's strengths." "There is nothing to learn," War Singer Krathol snapped, his resonant voice forming jagged spikes in the air. "We have observed your kind from afar. You are weak, divided, and inferior. Your lone star system will collapse within days of our choosing." Myung-Choi tried once more to find common ground. "The Dominion is renowned for fairness and reason," she said firmly. "Surely the galaxy has room enough for both our peoples without conflict." Velak's response was absolute. "Space belongs only to those strong enough to seize it. Carbon-based life is transient, a stage the universe will soon outgrow. The Dominion will expand as it chooses, and no primitive race shall dictate otherwise." The meeting was ended. As Haiyan Wu and his team walked back through crystalline corridors, the harmonies of the Nigma officials echoed like celebration. The aliens were already preparing their invasion. Back aboard the Soul's Pride, Haiyan Wu transmitted his report to Earth. The words were brief but final. Diplomacy had failed. and within 30 standard days the Dominion would cross the Kepler line. Earth must ready for war. As their vessel drifted from the crystalline homeworld, Dr. Park stood beside Haiyan Wu at the bridge. "They have no idea what awaits them," she whispered. Haiyan Wu nodded grimly. The Nigma judged humanity as primitive and weak, but they had never seen what humans became when their survival hung in the balance. Earth's message had been delivered with clarity and honesty. Now the Dominion must decide, heed it, or learn the hard way why humanity had endured every trial the cosmos had hurled at them. Admiral Dong-hyun Park studied the sensor display aboard the Busosan's Fury as red contacts lit the frontier. 3 weeks had passed since Captain Haiyan Wu Kim's return from the Nigma world bearing the news of failure. Now, as feared, the alien fleet advanced. "Contact, bearing 27 Mark IV, reported Sensor Officer Young Jin Lee. "Multiple vessels detected, 47 in total, including 3 Dreadnought class. Dong-hyun examined the tactical grid as his crew readied weapons. The Nigma ships resembled flying cathedrals of crystal, their hulls scattering starlight in prismatic hues. Reports warned these warships could alter their forms during combat, making them unpredictable adversaries. "Signal Captain Sojin-yun," Dong-hyun ordered. "Deploy her stealth frigate squadron, but hold until I give the word." 10 kilometers distant, cloaked from detection, Captain Sojin-yun commanded Earth's newest stealth fleet. Matte black hulls absorbed enemy scans rather than reflect them, rendering the ships invisible. Her crew had trained tirelessly for this fight they had hoped would never come. "Captain, intercepting harmonic transmissions," Communications Officer Woo Jin Kim reported. "They're coordinating their advance with layered frequencies," So Jin-yun acknowledged with a nod, reviewing her arsenal. Nuclear torpedoes and particle beams armed her frigate, yet doubt lingered. Could such weapons even harm crystalline? Warships glowing with inner power? At Proxima Station, the first human outpost in contested space, Lieutenant Taejo Kim received an urgent 3 crystal transports with nuclear torpedoes, escaping before the escorts could respond. "Confirmed kills on 3 enemy supply craft," Minsu reported to Fleet Command. "Enemy formation showing disarray. Relentless harassment and sudden strikes steadily eroded Nigma morale. Their vessels were built for direct confrontations, clashes against opponents who would stand openly. Humanity's refusal to meet them head-on, combined with precision ambushes from unexpected vectors, was a tactic the Dominion had never faced. Dr. Subin Park achieved a breakthrough when she discovered that Nigma crystal matrices destabilized under very specific acoustic frequencies. Collaborating with sound engineer Bora Kim, she engineered a weapon capable of projecting those disruptive waves directly into enemy hulls. "If we can get close enough, we can trigger catastrophic resonance failure," Subin explained to Admiral Dong-hyun during a secure briefing. The Admiral wasted no time, ordering multiple vessels modified with the new acoustic systems. The work was carried out in secret shipyards, carved into hollow asteroids, safely hidden from Nigma sensors. War singer Krathol pressed the advance, despite growing losses and supply strain. The Prime Harmonizer had commanded that the human system be conquered within 10 standard days, and failure was unthinkable in Nigma culture. "Increase the pace," Krathol ordered his commanders. "These carbon beings cannot hide behind cowardly tricks forever." But as the Dominion fleet pushed deeper into human space, they ran headlong into layers of escalating defenses. Entire asteroid belts had been weaponized into kill zones. Gas giant moons concealed fortified bases. Even the emptiness between planets bristled with sensors and automated batteries. Lieutenant Taejo Kim, now serving on a new vessel after losing his station, joined a daring raid against a Nigma communications ship. His team captured its equipment intact, yielding vital intelligence about enemy command protocols. "They coordinate entirely through harmonic frequencies," Taejo reported after analyzing the systems. "If we disrupt their transmissions at the right instant, Their entire fleet loses synchronization. The data was rushed to Dr. Subin Park, who immediately began developing a method to jam Nigma harmonics across a whole star system. Success would demand flawless timing and coordination among scattered human facilities. By the second week of conflict, it was clear. The Dominion advance was slowing. What was intended as a swift conquest had ground into a war of attrition, favoring the defenders. Captain Sojin Yoon's stealth frigates alone had destroyed or crippled more than 30 Dominion warships with hit-and-run strikes. Now, Nigma supply vessels required heavy escorts, which drained resources and slowed their pace further. At New Seoul Colony, Captain Ji-hun Yu stood in the command center as crystalline warships loomed in the skies above the settlement. The alien craft resembled radiant cathedrals drifting in the sky, their harmonic drives generating tones that made the ground tremble beneath Ji-hun Yu's feet. Yet he felt no fear, for he knew something the Nigma could not grasp about humanity's nature. All civilians to designated sectors, he announced over the colony's comms. Initiate total resistance protocol, now. The Nigma expected to find a powerless populace that would surrender quietly. Instead, they confronted something outside all their experience, a society where every individual was prepared to fight. In the farmlands, Sang-Wook Lee, a veteran farmer, was already executing the contingency plans he had practiced for months. His agricultural machines, massive excavators, and chemical processors were swiftly converted into improvised weapons. Within hours of the Nigma landing, fertilizer became explosives and irrigation pumps transformed into toxic gas dispersers. Remember, Sang-Wook told fellow farmers over their local net, we're not just defending homes. We're showing these crystal invaders what happens when they threaten human families. The first landing force, 50 crystalline warriors, expected cowering civilians. Instead, they were met with ingenious resistance. Farming drones armed, with cutting tools surged from grain fields, while hidden charges obliterated their landing craft. In the colony's school district, teacher Ga Ule Choi calmly guided her students through what looked like an evacuation drill, but was, in truth, a military operation. Children aged 8 to 16 had been trained to use maintenance tunnels for guerrilla tactics. Quiet single file, Ga whispered, as she led 20 students underground. We're not here to win battles. We're here to make them afraid to move anywhere. The students ferried supplies to fighters and planted surveillance devices, allowing defenders to track Nigma patrols in real time. To the invaders, the children seemed harmless, making them ideal operatives. Meanwhile, factory worker Yang Hee Kim, long accustomed to civilian production, used her expertise to manufacture weapons. Her plant normally built water purification systems, but the same machinery could craft chemical agents or fabricate explosives. Production Line 3 is turning out improvised rocket launchers, she reported to command. Line 7 is producing chemical disruptors to interfere with Nigma harmonic signals. On the surface, Dominion troops faced an enemy that appeared everywhere at once. Every building concealed traps, every civilian was a combatant, and every piece of infrastructure had been repurposed into a weapon. War singer Krathal reviewed the reports with disbelief. His warriors had expected to subjugate a meek settlement, yet they were bleeding from ambushes using unimaginable weapons. "How are farmers destroying my soldiers?" he demanded of his advisors. The truth was simple. Humanity had prepared for this day. Generations of planning had yielded survival manuals distributed to every colony, instructing civilians on how to resist occupation with whatever resources were at hand. In orbit above New Seoul Colony, Admiral Jin Song stood ready to unveil humanity's greatest secret. For decades, Earth's military had been constructing hidden fleets and bases in places Dominion scouts would never think to search. Now, the moment had come to show the Nigma that, much more than a single system. All units, this is Admiral "Song!" she declared over a frequency that spanned the entire star system. "Execute Revelation Protocol. Let them see what Earth's children have become." From asteroid belts that had seemed lifeless, colossal human warships emerged from concealment. Captain Woo-Jin Kim commanded a dreadnought forged inside a hollow moon, its arsenal powered by the moon's own gravitational core. The vessel dwarfed anything the Nigma had ever built, its hull bristling with weapons capable of tearing planets apart. "This is Moonbreaker Actual," Woo-Jin transmitted to the Nigma fleet. "Withdraw from human space within 10 minutes, or we'll demonstrate why Earth warned you to stay away." Commander Siri Park unleashed swarms of fighters from bases carved into asteroids. Her squadrons had trained in raw vacuum, mastering conditions that would kill most species. Their craft were small, swift, and designed to overwhelm larger vessels through sheer numbers. "Launch all wings," Siri ordered, as her base unfolded like a mechanical blossom. "Show them what a true swarm looks like." Hundreds of human fighters surged from hidden positions, catching the Nigma unprepared. Expecting a token defense, the invaders instead faced a fleet that seemed to materialize from empty space. Meanwhile, Dr. Yoni Han coordinated deployment of the resonance disruptors developed by Dr. Subin Park. These systems were mounted across the fleet, engineered to weaponize the Dominion's own harmonic communications. "All ships prepare to transmit on frequency 77 Alpha," Dr. Han instructed. "Let's see how they enjoy their music thrown back at them." When the weapons activated, the result was catastrophic. Nigma vessels quaked violently, crystalline, hulls vibrating until smaller ships shattered like glass struck by a perfect note. Warsinger Krathmul gripped his command throne as his flagship's matrix faltered under the resonance. For the first time in centuries, the Nigma felt something. They had forgotten fear. "Impossible," he whispered, as tactical screens revealed human ships appearing everywhere at once. Intelligence had promised only a few dozen vessels. The truth was humanity had militarized everything within reach, asteroids, moons, and even regions of space thought empty. Humanity had seeded their system with hidden power. Engineer Kyong-Soo Park, long hardened by hazardous mining work, now oversaw a platform converted into a fortress. "Mining Station 7 is now Weapons Platform 7, he reported as concealed launchers rose from the rock. Ore processors became missile forges, cutters became particle cannons, transports became warships. Within hours, the Nigma were battling. An entire industrial complex retooled for destruction. From the outer rim, Captain Hun Woo Kim, who had delivered Earth's warning weeks earlier, now led a task force emerging from sensor-blind zones. "This is Captain Kim to all Nigma forces," he declared on their own harmonic frequency. "Earth's warning was clear. You chose not to listen. Now you'll learn why humans keep their promises." The Dominion fleet was surrounded. Every vector revealed new ships, new weapons, and new threats. What was meant as a swift conquest dissolved into a nightmare of coordinated resistance. On New Sol Colony's surface, civilian fighters matched the fleet's ferocity. Farmer Sang Wook. Lee annihilated a landing zone with fertilizer bombs. Teacher Ga Ule Choi's students provided intel that fueled ambushes. "The carbon creatures fight with their whole population," a ground commander reported bitterly. "There are no civilians, only warriors with different tools." That was the Nigma's fatal miscalculation. They had expected to fight soldiers and then govern a submissive populace. Instead, humanity revealed a society where survival made every person a fighter. Factory worker Yang Hee Kim's improvised weapons crippled Dominion units, while her chemical irritants shattered harmonic coordination. Back on the Nigma homeworld, Prime Harmonizer Valak listened to Krathmul's frantic reports. An invasion that should have lasted days had already bled into weeks. Now, faced with humiliation, the ancient ruler made his decision. "Send everything," Velak commanded, his harmonic voice crystallizing the air around him. Every ship, every warrior, every weapon we hold. The carbon species must be crushed before the galaxy sees our weakness. Across Dominion space, the order resonated. Massive harmonic devastators, crystal leviathans the size of moons, began to mobilize toward human territory. These behemoths could fracture planets with sound alone, reducing worlds to rubble with a single focused pulse. Fleet Singer Morak commanded the largest devastator, the Crystal of Infinite Resonance, a warship infamous for annihilating 17 worlds in past Dominion campaigns. His crystalline body glowed with the accumulated harmonics of countless battles. At last, we will reveal the true power of crystalline song, Morak declared as his Leviathan ship cut through the dark void. Their system will stand as a monument to the folly of resisting the Dominion. But as the Nigma reserve fleet advanced through seemingly empty space, they entered a region that was far from lifeless. Here, humanity's greatest secret had waited in silence for decades. Admiral Kang Ho Lee felt the familiar shudder as his ship, the Void Walker, slipped back into normal space after traveling dimensions unknown to most species. Around him, dozens of other ships emerged, their hulls scarred by journeys through realms where the laws of physics bent and broke. Home Fleet, this is Lost Fleet Actual, Kang Ho broadcast to Earth Command. We have returned from the deep void and are intercepting Nigma reserves. Believed destroyed 20 years earlier, the Lost Fleet had in truth discovered ruins hidden between galaxies, ruins that taught them alien sciences which reshaped their ships and crews. Captain Dasu Kim commanded a vessel capable of phasing out of existence, becoming intangible and invisible before reappearing to strike. His crew, altered by void exposure, existed half outside conventional space-time, making them nearly untouchable. Phantom Squadron, phase assault formation, Dasu ordered as his ship closed on the Nigma fleet. Remember, we strike from between the spaces they cannot see. Commander Sunhai Park led pilots forever changed by void energies. No longer dependent on normal life support, they could survive the vacuum in lightweight suits. Void Squadron external assault, Sunhai commanded as her team prepared to leave their fighters, launching themselves directly onto enemy hulls. Show them what humans become when we adapt to the impossible. The Nigma detected the newcomers, but failed to comprehend what they faced. Human vessels flickered in and out of existence, defying recognizable physics, radiating energy unlike anything in Dominion archives. Unknown ships approaching on impossible vectors, reported a sensor operator aboard Morak's Devastator. Movement patterns inconsistent with normal space-time. Fleet Singer Morak studied the readouts, unease creeping into his harmonic voice. In all his centuries of war, he had never faced ships that seemed to exist partly beyond reality itself. Meanwhile, in the solar system, the decisive clash unfolded. Prime Harmonizer Velak arrived aboard the Dominion's ultimate weapon, a devastator named Song of Ending, a ship capable of erasing entire star systems with a single pulse. Behold true harmony, Velak intoned as his vessel positioned near Earth's sun. This system will fall silent forever, a monument to the fate of defiance. But Earth was prepared with counters Velak could not imagine. Engineer Bong Sik, Yun had converted transport freighters into colossal guided bombs, each stuffed with nuclear and antimatter payloads. Kamikaze Squadron, this is Yun, he transmitted to volunteers across the system. Today we prove humanity will give everything for our home. Hundreds of civilians steered their jury-rigged ships toward Nigma targets, detonating themselves to annihilate critical vessels. The sight of ordinary humans embracing death for survival rippled fear through the Dominion ranks. At the same time, Dr. Hwan Kim oversaw the activation of Earth's final safeguard, a planetary web of communication Satellites secretly modified into resonance projectors. Triggered together, they could unleash a harmonic wave strong enough to shatter Nigma coordination across the system. All satellites online and synced, Dr. Juan reported from the underground command hub, preparing to transmit the harmony of human defiance. Interfered with every Nigma channel across the solar system. For the first time in their long dominion, the crystal beings were deaf to one another, their perfect harmonics reduced to silence. Captain Insu Park guided his battered fighter toward the Prime Harmonizer's flagship, its hull split open by enemy fire, but his resolve intact. His comms were gone, yet his weapons still functioned, and his fuel reserve was just enough for one final strike. For Earth, for humanity, for those yet to come, he whispered, locking onto the command section of the colossal Nigma vessel. His sacrifice ruptured the flagship's harmonic generators, creating the chance Earth's defenders needed. Across the system, countless acts of courage echoed his. Pilots fought in shattered suits when their ships were lost. Soldiers turned tools into weapons when ammunition ran out. Civilians became living weapons when hope seemed gone. The lost fleet arrived at humanity's darkest hour, materializing within Nigma formations like specters from forgotten graves. Their strange weapons tore through crystal hulls, once thought indestructible. Captain Dasu Kim's phasing vessel appeared inside Morak's Devastator, blasting its core at point-blank range before slipping away again. The mighty warship faltered, its generators collapsing as fractures spread across its crystalline body. Commander Sunhai Park's altered pilots swarmed enemy craft like shadows, slicing into hulls and planting explosives with bare hands. The sight of humans surviving naked to the void horrified the Dominion warriors. "Impossible!" Morak gasped as his flagship convulsed under phantom strikes. "How can carbon life adapt to the void itself?" The answer, humanity had already gone beyond itself. The lost fleet had become something other than ordinary humans, yet still bound by the same relentless will to endure. Prime Harmonizer Velak watched in disbelief as his invasion dissolved. His ultimate weapon, the Song of Ending, was surrounded, harried by Earth's fleet and the ghostly lost fleet alike. "They fight as though the void itself has claimed them," Velak whispered as his defenses crumbled. "What kind of species evolves in the midst of battle?" Dr. Juan Kim's satellite array reached peak resonance, unleashing a frequency that shook Nigma vessels apart. Smaller ships shattered like brittle glass, their crews scattering into the black as their crystalline forms unraveled. Engineer Bong, Sik Yun's kamikaze squadrons had already annihilated the Dominion's heavy cruisers. The surviving volunteers now hurled their vessels at the devastators. "Target the resonators!" Bong ordered, steering his own converted freighter toward the Song of Ending. "If their weapon dies, Earth survives." Inside the wreckage of his command chamber, Velak lay broken, his once luminous body cracked and leaking the energy that had sustained him for a millennium. Around him, the Dominion's proud fleet floated in ruins, reduced to glittering debris. "We were wrong," Velak rasped, his fading harmonics barely reaching Dominion channels. "Humans are not like the others. They do not merely defend, they adapt, they endure, they become whatever survival demands." His last words reached the Nigma homeworld, where leaders listened in silent dread. The greatest invasion fleet in Dominion history had been shattered by a single system they had mocked as primitive. The unthinkable had become truth. On the Yu bridge of his flagship, Admiral Mongu Lee surveyed the battered but victorious human armada. The battle for Earth had been won, but the war was not yet over. Nigma forces still ruled dozens of systems, and humanity could not allow them time to recover. "All commanders," Lee broadcast across the fleet, his voice steady and cold. "Prepare for pursuit. We will carry the war to their stars." The network came alive with a note that seemed to rise from Earth itself, a deep vibration echoing into the void, powerful enough to shake the stars. Pursue the enemy into their own space and ensure such a threat never rose again. The choice to carry war into Nigma territory was made with gravity. Earth's leaders understood defensive wins were fleeting, but decisive strikes could prevent future invasions. Captain Yun-Yong Kim led the first stealth surveys into enemy systems, her ships mapping hidden defenses. "Crystal strongholds detected in Vega," she reported. "Minimal garrisons remain, likely remnants left during their failed offensive." What they found was a Dominion unraveling. The Nigma had committed nearly everything to their lost invasion, leaving their own heartlands exposed. Worlds long, secure now lay vulnerable. General Tae-min Park directed Operation Eternal Vigilance, Earth's plan to implant permanent observation outposts across former Dominion sectors. "This is not conquest," Park told commanders. "We are here to ensure no one mistakes human resolve again." The first station rose from the ruins of a Nigma fortress in Alpha Centauri. Dr. Soo-Jin Lee handled talks with surviving officials, offering them a choice between cooperation and ruin. "Your military is shattered," she told Resonance Keeper Thelkar. "We do not seek dominion, only assurance that the lessons of this war endure." Humanity's terms were unexpectedly generous. Nigma worlds would remain autonomous under human oversight, hosting monitoring stations that tracked military activity. Expansionist dreams were traded for survival. Now Admiral Hyun-Woo Kim returned to the Nigma homeworld aboard the Soul's Pride, escorted by a fleet symbolizing Earth's fulfilled warnings. "The circle is closed," Hyun said, watching crystal spires grow in the viewport. "We first came in peace and were dismissed. Now we return victorious to offer peace once more." The new Prime Harmonizer, young Thelvia, received the delegation in the same chamber where humanity's warnings had once been mocked. "The Dominion accepts Earth's terms," she admitted, her harmonics weighted with sorrow. "We have learned the cost of arrogance." Engineer Minho Choi built the first permanent base in the Nigma capital system, both surveillance hub and symbol of Earth's presence. "Station Alpha online," he reported. "We can track ship traffic across this entire sector. Children born in these stations carried the legacy forward. Young Eugene Park grew fluent in both human tongues and Nigma harmonics, bridging cultures. "The Crystal people are not evil," she explained in class. "They only forgot that others could be dangerous. Our job is to remind them, without cruelty." Throughout ex-Dominion space, stations doubled as cultural centers. Human families on the frontier eased fears that Earth sought empire, helping old foes accept new realities. Commander Ju Hwan Kim oversaw a deep space station at the edge of Nigma borders. His scans caught movement in the Riel sector. "Contacts from the Kthar Alliance," he reported. "Testing our borders." Admiral Hyun-Woo Kim's response was immediate. Fleets materialized within hours, forcing the intruders' retreat. "Let the word spread," Hyun declared. "Human promises stand whether of friendship or consequences." Dr. Soo-Jin Lee forged treaties with dozens of races once dismissive of Earth. Ironically, she noted, "The Nigma's war made us influential faster than peace ever could." The station network soon deterred conflicts before they could ignite. Stabilizing the region, engineer Minho Choi expanded it into an early warning grid, giving Earth advance notice of potential threats. "Prevention is better than victory," he told his team. "Stopping wars before they start is the greatest triumph." The Nigma, freed from endless expansion, rediscovered art and science. Many embraced new identities in peace. Eugene Park later became one of the first cultural ambassadors, guiding reconciliation and preserving the war's memory. "My parents fought," she said at a memorial. "I build the peace their sacrifice allowed. That is how we honor both the fallen and the living." From his post at the galactic edge, Commander Ju Hwan Kim continued his watch, scanning the void for danger. His words echoed humanity's new creed. Earth's warning was once ignored. The price was paid. Now the galaxy knows human promises are truth. And we will keep this watch for as long as it takes.